Shake-a! Nod or shake reviews. Willie nod or Willie shake. Yeah!
Hello, Johnny here. Welcome to another thing of Nod or Shake Reviews. Nod if it's good, shake if it's not so good. Either way, you should check it out because you might find your new favorite movie. I was going to do a double feature review of Sonic and Mufasa, but I am exhausted. So I'm just going to stick with Sonic the Hedgehog and maybe Mufasa during the weekend. Maybe. Busy. So stay tuned for that. I might fall asleep just looking at this camera right now. Alrighty, on to the review. Sonic the Hedgehog 3. I got the popcorn bucket, and I just realized when I got in the car that I have the rival people, Mario and Sonic, Nintendo and Sega. Big deal back in the 90s. And the review is, I give it a nod. I was entertained, and for me, that's the most important part. There's actually something I want to talk about later about that. So, just a few things. I was very tired today, so I will admit there are a few parts where I was dozing off. So, I don't know if that's on the movie or if that's on me. Could be a little bit of both. Keanu Reeves was good. Jim Carrey was great. I almost feel bad for Ben Schwartz because he's supposed to be the star of the movie, and he's kind of, you almost think of him last because, you know, Keanu Reeves and Jim Carrey are so great in their respective roles. And there are some lines that I'm like, I can't believe a talking hedgehog voiced by Keanu Reeves just said this. There's one line later in the movie that he's talking about loss. Unfortunately, we had a loss in the family of my own, and it was a very beautiful thing. And I'm like, is this hedgehog gonna make me cry right now? And it almost did happen. So even if I hated this movie, the moment that happened, I would have given a nod anyway, because that was such a really great moment. I'm terrible with time, but the last part of the movie was definitely the best. One thing I respect about, even if I do and I don't like them, I didn't like the second one. I love the first one. First one's still my favorite. It seems like they're really trying to go with the Sonic lore, no matter how absurd it is. They just embrace it, which I feel like studios don't do often. They go like, that's crazy and that's silly, so we're going to change that completely and make fans angry. No, they just go like, oh yeah, this is pretty nuts, but we're going to go for it. So that's pretty much the review for me. This guy, he's going to park into me. Is this somebody I know? I just saw the worst K-turn of my life. The worst. In an empty parking lot, too. So, the review is over. You can turn it off. I won't be offended if you haven't turned it off already. This was the highlight of the movie for me, and it was after the movie, and I know that sounds silly. It's not me bashing the movie. There were a lot of kids there, and they were respectful and, you know, weren't making noise and all that. But when the movie was over, they were clapping and they were cheering. They had 2 end credit scenes, and the kids were very excited. And then we left the theater, and this was my favorite part. And I think this is just me, I guess, too much on the internet. And I appreciate this type of dialogue, the technical sides that go into movies, you know, the behind the scenes stuff and the stuff that isn't face value, you know, symbolism, foreshadowing, all that, character development, all that stuff when you get older and you really are interested in. I think with the internet is we forgot how to enjoy movies because we're so busy trying to sound like the smartest person in the room, to a point where if someone goes like, oh, I like this movie, it's my favorite movie in the entire universe, rest assured there's going to be somebody that's like, yeah, it's good, the color grading was bad though. And you're just like, what did you just say to my face? These kids went out, and it reminded me of when I was little. They left the theater, and they were like, my favorite part was this. I really like this character. Shadow was my favorite. Oh, I loved it. And it's just like, I miss that in a way. Now it's like you leave the theater, it's like, the cinematography was great. Man, it's stuff like that you kind of miss being a kid. The kids had like a Tails doll, and they had Sonic clothing, and it's like, man, stuff like that I missed. I think in that regard, we forgot how to enjoy movies. Now, don't get me wrong. I know there are some people who, they see a movie and they go like, oh my God, that's great. I love it. Favorite movie of all time. And that's great. There's nothing wrong with that. I think we have there's people with too much of the superiority complex on the internet. Part of that's me because I'm always on it, whatever. So yeah, guys, don't forget, it's okay to enjoy a movie. It's okay to go to a movie that might look like it was shot by a fifth grader, but if it's a good story, good characters, it's not always necessary to get into that. I don't know. That's just my 2 cents on it. I just rambled for 6 minutes, so I apologize. Alrighty, thanks for cringing. Maybe Mufasa this weekend. I'm not sure. Busy. Definitely Nosferatu next week. Alright, thanks for cringing. Bye.